Hi yogi friends, Cathy here. So glad you have chosen to come to the mat to practice with me today. We're going to do a fairly slow-paced practice today that will include a lot of warming up, just kind of honoring that fall transition that we're experiencing during the time this is being recorded, and really coming into that space of drawing inward and trying to really focus on our breathing, our inner sensations, all of that, that stuff that's happening that we so often don't recognize during the course of our daily lives. So in light of that, let's come into a comfortable position here. I would like to request that if you have a bolster or a nice firm pillow, maybe a couple of bed pillows, those will be useful today, and some blocks, or some big fat books. If you don't have blocks handy, will also be useful today for us. You can certainly practice without them, but if you have those things, they will be helpful and may aid you in just deepening your practice a little bit and really getting the full benefits. So coming into your comfy seat here with legs crossed, either one in front of the other, one on top of the other. Lengthen up through the spine and just imagine your sits bones, those pointy bones of the, the bum, and your root chakra, your base of the spine, that tailbone, really grounding that part of the body down, and then noticing how, if you can have an imaginary little string here at the crown of the head, and just lift up through the spine. So think of drawing the spine slightly up out of the pelvis, up through the midsection, and lengthening up through the spine. And so often this is something that we just don't pay a lot of attention to. So during our practice, it's really good to create length in the spine. Creates a lot of room for the prana, the life energy to move. And then also it's just really good for our overall health to have a nice erect spine and good posture. So once you've settled in here, place the hands wherever you feel most comfortable, whether that's facing the knees or the thighs or open to the sky. Having them open, palms open, is a little bit more of a receiving position. Having the palms down is a little more protective, a little more turning in and protective type of hand position, but either one works just fine, whatever works best for you today. Let's close the eyes now. And again, just noticing the spine, wanting to try to keep it in that erect position as much as possible. Without straining, though, we want to be comfortable. This is a Sukhasana position, a comfy seat. So we want to be able to relax here and still remain alert and aware. Notice the points in the body that are touching the mat, where gravity has you grounded on that surface beneath you. And just notice how that feels. Notice any sensations in the body, any places where there may feel a little tightness, a little stretching from this position that you're sitting in. Maybe there's a tingle or a numbness somewhere. Notice your energy level. Notice your state of mind. And just notice it. We're not going to judge it. We're just noticing here. And then draw attention to your breath and notice your breathing pattern. Notice your speed of breath. Notice the depth of breath. Sometimes drawing attention to the breath is just enough to help it to slow and deepen a bit. we're just coming into this space fully, just calming ourselves by drawing the attention inward. And let's make sure that we're really filling the belly with air on the inhale, really starting at the low belly and filling it up like a balloon on the inhale. Drawing that air up into the lungs, higher and higher, all the way up to the collarbone, and maybe a slight lift in the collarbone as we really take in a last full sip of air and then relax that collarbone. Letting the exhale flow out, and then using the navel, drawing it toward the spine to really press all of the exhale out. Pressing out and then filling back up again. Full belly breath. Expanding that abdomen, letting it open up wide, pulling the oxygen into the lungs. And then pressing that stale air, all of that CO2 that we don't need, out of the body. Drawing the navel towards spine to really empty the lungs. And let's do one more full cycle of that full belly breath. And on our next inhale, we're going to prepare for a chant of Om together. So full belly breath. And on the exhale, The chant of Om is just our recognition of the life energy that is present in all living beings and connects us all throughout creation and to creation. It's the energy and life force, just the sound of that vibration that connects us all. And we're going to do a couple more chants of Om, and if you start at a low octave, you can feel it low in the belly, and then if you change your octave slightly, it's an option. You can sort of feel the vibration move up into the midsection of the body, and then as you come to the Om, you'll feel that vibration come up into the neck and head. So let's be mindful of that this time. Take a nice full belly inhale. And on the exhale, we start with Om. And once more. And this is a gentle and graceful way to awaken the life force within us a little more, to let the body and mind know we're entering into our practice. We're in this safe space where we can draw inward and reflect and refine and restore. So let's gently open the eyes now. And if you feel like you're beginning to have a little difficulty keeping that tall spine, if you have a blanket, rolled up towel, I have one that just happens to be here behind me, that can go right beneath the tailbone, and that will allow the pelvis to come into a real nice neutral position so that you don't feel like you're trying to grip in the hips to keep the spine erect. So it can be a very helpful little prop to keep the spine, keep the spine tall and allow our energy to continue to flow so that we're not blocking any of that great energy flow. Let's start this morning by lifting the fingertips up above the shoulders, really reaching through those fingertips, but also relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, creating some space there. And again, lifting through the crown. You can almost feel the movement if you do add that towel behind you, or if you don't have it, think of sitting almost on the perineum. It almost feels as if the pelvis is rocking forward slightly, but in essence it is coming into a real neutral position with that little bit of support behind. Let's take a twist to one side and bring the front hand to rest either on the knee or on the thigh, and the back hand just behind the bum. And a gentle twist here, lengthening up on the inhale through the crown, and then on the exhale, glancing over that back shoulder. And lift the hands slightly here off the surface, and notice where the twist is coming from. By lifting the hands, we'll notice that we're not pressing ourselves into this twist with the hands and the arms. We want the twist to come from the midsection, from the torso muscles. On the next inhale, lengthen through the crown again, and on an exhale, maybe you turn the chin just slightly more toward the back, only if that feels good for you today. One more full breath cycle here, and on the next inhale, we'll raise the arms up above the shoulders once again and twist to the opposite direction. Again, lightly placing the hands so that the twist is coming from those muscles of the midsection. Inhaling, lift through the crown. Exhaling, glance maybe just slightly further over the shoulder, drawing the chin just slightly toward the back. And remembering to breathe here and to settle into the pose. It takes effort to get here, but we want to relax into the position once we get there. On the next inhale, let's draw the arms back up above the shoulders once again. And then from here, we're going to lower the arms down, fingertips in front of us, and bend the torso forward from the hips. Excuse me for all the throat clearing. I've got a little bit of the seasonal allergies going on here. Walk those fingertips just gently forward. And this is not going to be much of a bend, probably because if you're like me and you have a little tightness in the hips sometimes, it doesn't take a lot to feel some intensity in the hips here. So we want to keep a straight spine again, and by pressing the sits bones back into the surface beneath us and lengthening through the crown, we're creating a lot of length in the spine, but also some real good stretching in those outer hips. You probably feel that about now. Just want to reach your edge. You don't want to overdo it. So again, you know my philosophy. Discomfort means we need to be paying attention to that space. Once discomfort crosses the line into pain, that means we need to take a step back. We need to adjust. We need to listen to our bodies and respect what they're telling us. It's just holding here. And as you hold, you may find that after a few seconds, you might even be able to walk the fingers a little forward. And if not, if your body says, nope, nope, back it on up, then come a little taller and press the fingers back a little closer toward the body as you come up. Let's walk the fingers over in front of one knee and just hold there for a moment and breathe. Notice how that changes the sensation in the hips, or maybe it draws the stretch a little bit more into one hip over the other. Remembering to use the breath to come into any points, drawing that inhale into any points of intensity, and using the exhale to just release tension and take that tension out and away. And then we're going to walk the fingers back to center and bring fingertips over in front of the other knee. Notice again your spine. You want to keep an erect spine here. And if that means you're not bending much at all, that's a-okay. You just want to go, like I said, to the edge without causing pain. And notice how this changes the sensation in the hips too, to move from one side to the other. Remembering to breathe here. And allowing yourself to relax into the position. It's possible to relax even when there's an intense feeling, especially when we use the breath to draw in to the space of tension and to pull tension away on the exhale. Let's bring the fingertips back to center and press the fingertips so that we can sit back up tall, and then we're going to reverse or change to the opposite leg. So opposite leg either in front or on top. We're going to do the same move now. So let's pull the arms up so that fingertips are above the shoulders, space between ears and shoulders again. Lower arms down in front of us, fingertips on the floor. And then we just walk those fingertips slowly out in front. And wow, see if this is really different on this side than the other. We're so often asymmetrical in the tension that we carry in the body and in our ability to have flexibility on one side a little more so than the other. So just honor that asymmetry. Take notice of it. And allow the body to, again, reach the edge. If you want to just on an inhale, lengthen through the crown, and maybe on the exhale, walk those fingers maybe just a centimeter more forward. Again, pressing those sits bones into the ground behind you, lengthening through the spine. Remembering to breathe fully and deeply, allowing the breath, the inhale, to be directed toward any spots of tension, and the exhale to draw that tension away and out of the body. Let's do that walk of the fingertips over in front of one knee once again. And if you are thinking, this is more than I want to try to do, if bringing the fingertips to the floor is a little much and you have a block or a big fat book, just reaching the fingertips over to that surface and allowing length through the spine can still create a nice stretch, a nice lengthening through the back, and also allow you to reach your edge a little more comfortably. Remembering to breathe here. And then let's walk the fingers back to center, going over to bringing those fingertips in front of the opposite knee now, lengthening through the crown on the inhale. And pressing those sits bones back and down on the exhale. Listening to the messages the body is sending you about this stretch. If you need to readjust in any way, do so. And again, remembering to breathe. Let's walk the fingers to the front and press up. And from here, let's lengthen the fingers out to either side, about 6 to 12 inches off the mat. And from here, we're just going to begin to twist the torso and let the arms follow. And so, again, we want an erect spine because we just want to be twisting the muscles on either side of the spine and allowing those muscles to do some natural spinal alignment here. And let's bring the arms up to shoulder height. Notice how that changes the sensations in the back. And then we'll bring the fingertips a little higher, about 45-degree angle from the shoulders, and maybe have the palms facing toward one another here, and opening up through the shoulders. Listen to the sensations of your body. If anything reaches a point of pain, you know to back off, to bring the arms back down, maybe to sit this one out. You listen to your body and honor what it's telling you. Let's lower the arms slowly back down. And then when you can come to stillness, keep those fingertips on the floor on either side. And we're going to begin a little pendulum movement back and forth from side to side. Now our only movements here in the spine are from side to side. We don't want a curvature forward or back. And if you find that having your legs in this position is a little odd because we did switch them out and you want to switch them back, go right ahead. Notice this pendulum movement where you're feeling this on either side of the body, around the hip and the torso. One side is probably going to feel really different than the other. If not, if you're feeling very similar, good for you. That means you're really balanced today. That's great. Let's extend one arm overhead using the opposite palm to support us. And just reach through those fingertips and allow some space again between the shoulder and the ear. And press that hip that's on this same side of the body as the arm that's extended. Press that hip into the ground. That hip bone, that sits bone, so that you are really creating a lot of length in this side body. And from here, let's bend toward our knee slightly and reach the fingertips out from the shoulder, out in front, and across to the opposite, in front of the opposite knee, and then come back to our side bend. So we're just allowing this stretch to come a little bit more into different parts of the back body. Again, listening to your spine, your back, your bodily sensations. And if this isn't for you today, just stay in that static side stretch. And from this static side stretch, we're going to come back up to center and just do the same move on the other side. So extend the opposite arm, opposite fingertips, allowing space between the shoulder and ear. Noticing how it feels different on this side than the other side of the body. And again, pressing this hip, same hip as the arm that's extended, pressing that hip bone, that sits bone down into the mat. And then let's do this same little rotation movement, bringing the arm to reach above and extend above that knee and across the front of the body to the opposite knee, just extending out above the knee. Then we'll come back to our static stretch. And do this move slowly so that you can really honor the body, really feel the full expression of the movement. Slow movement also allows us to really pay attention to our alignment so that we don't cause an injury. So, moving slowly is a way to take good care of our bodies. Let's come back up to center now. And let's bring our hands to rest on our legs. And then draw the chin down toward the chest. We're just stretching the back of the neck, the upper shoulders, just holding here for one full breath cycle. And then let's draw the nose up toward the ceiling. So again, allowing some space in the back of the neck here. We don't want to crunch the back of the neck. We just want to open up the throat. So maybe even imagine, rather than the nose toward the sky, if you happen to be indoors, think of the nose pointing toward the crease between the ceiling and the wall in front of you. And then let's draw chin back to chest. Holding here for one breath cycle. And drawing the nose back up to point toward that crease between wall and ceiling. And dropping chin to chest, and then let's take one ear over to one shoulder and just hold there for a minute. Notice how that feels in the side of the neck. If you want to add some additional stretch to that side of the neck, gently place the hand on top of the head. We're not going to pull on the neck, we're just going to place the hand there. And then we can extend the opposite fingertips out on the mat. And you'll notice, you'll feel a little bit of added sensation there when you just place those fingertips out away from the body. One more full breath cycle here. And then we'll release the hands, raise the head back upright. Let's drop the chin again toward the chest and then rotate opposite ear toward opposite shoulder. I happen to have a little soreness, a little tightness on this side of the neck, so for me, I'm not going to be able to go quite as far today. I want you to listen to what your body needs also. If you want to add a little extra, again, bring that hand to rest on the head. Extend fingertips out toward the side. Remembering to breathe here. And then releasing the hands, coming back up to the center. Let's draw chin to chest again, and we're just going to do neck rotations. So chin to chest, ear to shoulder, nose to sky, opposite ear to opposite shoulder. And I would suggest doing these slowly so that we don't cause any added tension. We don't want to cause this delicate neck area any added frustration. And next time that your chin is at your chest, go ahead and reverse those circles. And you might hear a little snap, crackle, and pop in this movement. That's okay as long as there's no pain there. Next time that chin is at the chest, we'll just come back up to a neutral position. And then we're going to remove that blanket that's behind us if we have one and come into our tabletop position on hands and knees. We want a good foundation here before we start any movement. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Plenty of space between fingers. And then we want to really grip into the finger pads, the fingertips and the pad of the thumb. Almost like your hand is like a little spider on the mat. So the foundation is in the base of the palm and all the fingertips. This takes pressure out of your wrists if you have fussy wrists. Another way, if this is still bothering the wrist, is to make a fist and place the knuckles between the top knuckle and the middle knuckle of the finger, that part of the fist on the ground. That really takes all of the pressure out of the wrists. You can leave the thumbs outside those fists if you need to do that. Otherwise, let's use that finger pad grip. This also creates some strength in the forearms. You can have your wrist below your elbow and your elbow directly below your shoulder. So a nice straight line there. We want a nice straight line between our crown and our tail. Draw that belly button up slightly to support the low back. And notice that the knees, if they're in great position, will be directly below the hips. Now that we've got our foundation nice and strong, let's drop the belly, raise the crown and the tail. And really just settle there for a second and allow the front body to really open and stretch. And allow there to be space between the shoulders and the ears. And again, no crunching of the neck. When I say raise the crown, it doesn't mean we want to crunch up the back of the neck. Lengthen through the crown. Now let's draw on the exhale the belly button up toward the spine, really pressing through the base of the palms, the tops of the feet and the knees to really press the spine toward the sky in a curve. drawing that navel up. And on an inhale, let's drop the belly once again. Extend through the crown. We don't want to create tension in the shoulders here. So when we are tipping the head forward, the nose forward, we don't want to create tension in the back of the neck or the shoulders. So just be aware of that. On the exhale, draw the belly button up toward the spine. Press through palms, knees, and tops of feet. Really press, press. And on an inhale, drop the belly once again. Really open up the front body. From here, let's spread the knees wide. Bring the big toes to touch one another, and then press the hips back toward the heels. Let's come into a child's pose here for a moment, lowering the forehead toward the mat. If it doesn't get there, you can bring a block beneath the forehead if you like. Sometimes the shoulders can be tight and just not allow the head to come all the way down. That's a-okay. Just relaxing into this pose here. Breathing. Noticing any sensations that you feel in this position. Closing the eyes if they aren't already. Remembering to breathe fully, deeply in this position. You may even want to rock the forehead from side to side, giving a little stimulation of that third eye space and the sinus area. One more full breath cycle here. And on the next inhale, let's come back up to our tabletop. Let's press, once we're in our foundation, get that foundation good again. Press the hips out to one side, glancing over the opposite shoulder, looking at the heel behind you, and just hold there for a moment. Noticing where you feel this movement. And then let's come back to center, pressing that hip out to the other side. Oh, notice how it might feel very different on this side than the other, possibly. Looking over that shoulder toward the heel behind you. Coming back to center, pressing the hips out to that other side again, and then bringing the hips back toward the heels and across the heels, and pressing the hips out to the other side. So now we're just making some hip circles here. Opening up the hips. If you do a lot of sitting, this is a nice way to open the hips up because they can get pretty tight when we're sitting at a desk, in a chair, or anywhere else we might be sitting for that matter. If we're commuting, driving in the car, sitting on the bus or the train, anything like that. Let's do one more big hip circle in this direction, and the next time that you're up in that tabletop foundation, let's reverse our hip circles. Just go the opposite direction. Really mindful movement here. If it works for you to go at a quicker pace, that's a-okay. And if it feels good to go at a slower pace, then just honor what your body is asking for. Two more of these, and then we'll come back to that tabletop position. One more. Or one more if you're going at my pace. All right, and back into tabletop. We're going to come into a downward facing dog here. You might want to move your palms one palm's length forward. That works well for me. Curl the toes under behind you. Lift the hips up toward the sky. Pedal the feet here. So bending the knees one at a time and pressing the opposite heel toward the mat. That's the pedaling action. That can really help to bring some length into the back of the leg, stretch out the calf and the Achilles. Remember to keep that grip in the fingertips. We don't want to add any tension to wrists here. Think of a rod extending from the crown of your head through the spine down to your tailbone. Just think of a nice, strong rod. So we want to have that length there. And we want to try to have our ears beside our biceps.
You may want to come into stillness with the feet now and just bring the big toes slightly closer together. This allows the heels to open up a bit, and then the hips at the base of the top of the hip there, just under the bottom, that part of the inner hip to rotate out a little bit. A little inner rotation there. And remember to breathe here, extending through the crown and allowing space between ears and shoulders. From here, this nice big stretch. Let's come to have the feet a little more aligned, parallel to one another. And let's lift one leg so that it extends from the hip out through the heel. So there's a nice diagonal line from our palm up through our arm, through the side body, through the hip, through the leg, out the heel. One diagonal line. From there, bend that same knee and open that hip up to the side a bit. So you should feel this in the outer hip, the front of the hip, a little bit in the quad. And just hold there for a moment. One full breath cycle. And then we'll gently come back to center, extending through that heel once again, and then lowering that leg. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So extend through that leg. Again, pay attention to the grip in the fingertips, tip of the thumb, base of the palm. And notice we want a nice diagonal line from the palm, through the arm, through the side body, out the hip, down the leg, and out the heel. From there, bend the knee. Open that hip up to the side a little bit. And breathe here. Feeling the sensations of this movement. And then come to straighten that leg once again, and then lower it gently back down into our downward facing dog. And then we're going to walk our feet forward one at a time, little baby steps up to the top of the mat to meet our hands. And here we'll be in a forward fold. And just relax into this fold, bending the knees as generously as you need. And if the hands aren't on the floor, you can place them on blocks. You can place them on the shins, the tops of the feet, up on the thighs, wherever it works for you today. Just allow gravity to do the job here, pulling the crown toward the feet. And maybe you want to shake the head a little yes, a little no. Releasing some tension in the neck. Let's bring one hand to rest directly in front of the face on the floor. Looking down at the floor. Place that hand right there. And we're going to bend that same knee on the same side of the body as the hand that's planted on the floor. Bend that knee, straighten the opposite leg. And then for the arm that is on the side of the body with the straightened leg, bring that palm just on the inside of the forearm here and draw it across the inside of the arm, across the chest, and then lengthen it out above the shoulder. So we have a straight arm on the same side of the body as the straight leg. That straight arm is extended through the fingertips toward the sky. And you're probably going to feel this in the back of the leg, the IT band outside of that straight leg. Hold here for a breath. Nice twist there. Let's bring that arm down and replace the hand that was on the floor with the one that was extended up above. Bend in the opposite leg now. And so we're going to draw this hand across the inside of this arm, lengthening it up above the shoulder. Again, now we have a straight arm extended above the shoulder, on the same side of the body as the straight leg. Notice how this feels different on this side than on the opposite side. Remembering to breathe here. And then bring that hand back down. We'll be in our forward fold once again. And from here, we're going to roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. Coming into our strong mountain pose. And let's just close the eyes here in mountain for a moment so we can really come in to awareness of our mountain. Maybe rock slightly forward and back on the feet just a bit. We want the weight evenly distributed between the feet and within each foot, the ball of the foot, the outer edge of the foot, the heel. Keep everything nice and balanced in the feet, no gripping in the toes here. And then we want to engage the thighs so that the knees lift just slightly. Draw the belly button in, again, just slightly, so that the front body can open and extend up, and that our posture will be nice straight line from the crown, down the back of the head, the neck, the upper back, mid-back, all the way down to our tailbone. And think of the shoulders, the chest, as just being open. Just don't want them curving forward. We just want them to be opened up. They don't have to be slammed, like really opened wide, but we want them to be open in a relaxed way. Chin is parallel to the floor. And just take one more full breath cycle here to recognize your strength, to notice the breathing pattern, maybe to notice your heartbeat. And then let's come to the long edge of our mat. And we're going to do some hip circles here. So we're going to press the hips forward, out to the side, and bring them back. And go to the opposite side. So we'll just create a circle from those movements now. Really opening up the hips here again. And the next time that your hips are forward, let's reverse that circle. And the next time that hips are forward, we're just going to come back into our neutral position. And let's start making some large arm circles. And we want to be honoring the shoulders here. Some of us have really tight shoulders and we're only going to be opening up like this, and that's okay. If you're able to make these bigger circles, great. And as you continue the movement, you may find that you're able to make the circles a little bigger, maybe even bringing the arms a little closer toward the head and the ears. But again, honor where you are today. Next time the hands are down by the sides, let's reverse those circles. This helps to open the shoulders, allowing for some more mobility. It opens up the chest, the upper back. One more of these, and then we'll lower hands down to either side. And let's raise one arm up above the shoulder, keeping the other palm on the thigh, lengthening up through the spine, and then pressing the hip out and bending toward this hand that's on the thigh, lengthening through fingertips, lengthening through crown. There doesn't have to be a great deal of movement here, but you really want to feel the stretch in the side body. One more full breath cycle here. And on an inhale, let's come back up to center, lowering that arm. Let's do this on the opposite side, lifting first through the fingertips, keeping the other palm on the thigh, lifting through the crown and spine, and then pressing hips out to the side and leaning toward
this hand on the thigh. Drawing the belly button in just a tiny bit can help to support that low back. And remembering to breathe here. Let's come back up on an inhale, lowering that arm. And then let's come up to the top of our mat. We're going to do a couple rounds of sun salutations here, just to warm the body a little more and provide a nice lengthening and strengthening for all the parts that we haven't gotten to yet. And we're going to take this flow slowly. So this is a flow of poses, but we're going to take them slowly today so we can settle into each one. So let's bring the hands to prayer position at the heart. Lower the hands down, then lift them up above the shoulders. And we're going to add a little football goalpost arms here, bending at the elbows and opening up through the front of the chest slightly. And then lengthening back up through the fingertips and diving forward into a forward fold, bending the knees again as much as needed. If you have blocks here and you want to bring them on either side of the feet, it's a great time to do that. They may be helpful here soon. Letting gravity pull the crown toward the feet. Really feeling this in the back of the legs. Bending the knees as much as needed. Let's take the right toes back and lower the right knee. And this is where you can bring those blocks in if you like. Notice the front knee. We want it to be right above the ankle. And let's just allow ourselves to lengthen through the crown here and really settle into this position. Really notice the stretch in the hip flexor and the quad of that back leg. Remembering to breathe here. Looking forward, opening through the chest. And then we'll move those blocks to the side if you have them. Bringing the palms to the mat. Let's bring the front foot back to meet the back foot and hold a plank here for just a moment. If you need to come to knees down into a half plank, do that. Otherwise, hold this plank for one more full breath. And then we're going to lower the knees and bring the bum toward the ankles, toward the heels, and just rest in a child for just a moment. One full breath here. On our next inhale, we're going to move forward with the chin and chest to touch the mat, keeping the bum up. Then lengthen the legs out behind, keeping the elbows really close to the body. Lift from the back through the crown to come into a cobra. Belly button should only be about an inch or two off the ground. Lowering back down. And that cobra can be a tiny little baby cobra if that's what you need today. So listen to your body. After we've lowered back down, you decide how you want to come to a down dog. You can press up into a plank. You can come into a tabletop or whatever else works well for you to transition into a down dog and pedal the feet here. Remember that grip of the fingertips. A little more pedaling action here. And then we're going to take this right foot and just lift it slightly behind us. And then bring the right knee just as close to the chest as you possibly can as you move the weight toward the hands and bring that foot up between the hands in front of you. You may need to use the hands to help you bring it forward. Lower that back knee. And again, bring your blocks into play here if you like to allow you to really lengthen up through the crown, open through the chest. Relax into this pose. Notice that front knee. Is it over the ankle where it needs to be? Feel the sensations in that left hip flexor now, the left quad. And then moving those blocks to the side. Let's plant the palms again or come to the fingertips.
Come up onto the back toes and use that bend in the back knee for some momentum to bring that foot forward into your forward fold, and just relax down into that forward fold. A little sway from side to side, maybe a little shake of the head, yes and no, to release tension in the neck there. And then let's roll up, extending arms up above the fingers, up above the shoulders, and bringing hands back to prayer position, where we're going to take just a slight rest here and close the eyes. Feel the energy moving. Feel the heartbeat. Notice the breath. The breathing pattern, has it changed? Notice the pulse, the energy level, has it changed? Notice the feet grounded into the mat and our weight distributed between the feet, grounded into our foundation. One more full breath cycle here. On our next inhale, let's bring the hands down first and then lengthen them up through fingertips above shoulders. Let's do those goalpost arms once again, open wide, open through the chest, lengthen back up straight through the fingertips, and then diving forward into our forward fold, swaying side to side, really letting gravity pull the head toward the toes here. This time, let's take the left toes back, lower that left back knee. And again, notice where your knee is above that front ankle. Using the blocks, if you like, to really lengthen up through the crown. Open through the chest, resting, relaxing into this pose. It takes effort to get here, and then when we get here, we want to allow the body to just relax into it. And then from here, we're going to bring hands to the mat. Come up onto the back toes, bringing that right foot back to meet the left. Again, coming into half plank or full plank. If you're in your full plank or half plank, remember the grip of those fingers. Lengthen through the crown. Full plank, you want to rod from your heels up through your legs, your back, and your crown. Bring those knees down. Bring the bum to meet the heels, and let's take another little rest here in a child. Let's rock the forehead from side to side just a bit. That can feel so nice. On the next inhale, let's come forward with chin and chest onto the mat, pressing the legs straight out back behind, using the upper back muscles to lift the head and the chest off the mat, maybe pressing slightly with the backs of the palms to raise a little more into our cobra, and then lowering back down. And then transitioning to down dog, however it works best for you today. And pedaling the feet once you get there. Pedaling that downward dog. Some people say you're taking your dog for a walk here. Really gripping into those fingertips. Thinking of length between crown and tail. Maybe come to stillness now with those big toes slightly closer, allowing some opening in the inner hips, the groin. And then we'll just slightly lift that left foot off the floor, and then bring that left knee up as close as we can to the chest as we move the body weight forward onto the hands, and bring that left foot up between the hands, lowering the back knee. Using the blocks here to create a little more height if that works for you. Certainly using just the floor if that works best.
allowing gravity to provide the stretch in the front of that right hip flexor and quad, lengthening through the crown, chin parallel to the floor. Really breathing here. Let's move those blocks to the side if you have them, coming onto the palms, up on the toes and back, using the bend in that knee for a little momentum and bringing that right foot forward to meet the left in our forward fold. You might want to grasp the opposite elbow and the opposite palm and do a little sway here, side to side with the arms crossed in front. And then we'll roll up one vertebra at a time into our tall mountain. Let's lift the arms up above shoulders once more. And then open those goalpost arms to allow some opening in the chest. Lengthening back upward with the fingertips and then bringing the hands to prayer position and a little rest here once again. Again, draw attention to the pulse rate, the energy flow in the body, the breathing pattern, the state of mind even, any sensations in the body. And just breathe here a moment, noticing whatever you feel. And from here, we're going to come down onto our bottom. And here's where you're going to want your pillow or your bolster if you have one. The first thing we're going to use it for is an extended, a supported child's pose. So we'll want the bolster or pillows to be out in front of us. 2 bed pillows can also work nicely here. So we want to bring our knees as wide as the mat, and our big toes are going to touch behind us, and then we'll bring the hips to the heels. And bring the bolster in as close as you can to the groin area. And I'm going to take my glasses off. That always seems to work a little better for this. And we just want to drape the front body over the bolster or the pillows and turn onto one ear. And just rest the hands beside the bolster. And we really want to just take it easy here. Just relax. And let our weight rest into the support beneath us. Let gravity draw us toward the floor. And just breathe here. And to keep things nice and balanced, you probably want to turn the head so that it can rest on the other ear for a few moments. So we can keep things as balanced as possible. And then from here, we're going to use the hands to press ourselves up. And we'll want to move the bolster to the side for a moment. We're going to come bringing the legs out in front this time. So moving a little forward on the mat, possibly. And we're going to come to a supported fish pose this time. So we'll bring the bolster behind us, get it in a pretty straight line with our spine, and give yourself a little bit of space here, maybe about 6 inches between your bum and your bolster or your pillow. And then lean back into it and just allow your spine to slowly relax right down onto the bolster. This will open up the front body, open the arms up to the side. Now you can bring your feet to rest, soles of the feet touching one another with the knees spread wide like I am. You can put the legs out directly in front and let the feet flop open. I prefer this Supta Baddha Konasana with my legs. It just feels really nice to me to open even more in the groin area. So just stay here and relax. Again, letting gravity just pull the muscles away from the bones toward the floor. Be here and breathe. Notice any sensations in the body. Notice if this gives you an open feeling to have the body, front body wide open like this. It's a great heart opening position. Some people can tend to feel vulnerable in this position too, so just notice what you feel. Notice how this feels for the spine, the chest, the neck, the shoulders, the back, the arms, the legs. Just take a scan. I'm going to be here and breathe for a few moments, so just relax and I'll let you know when it's time to move on. One more full breath cycle here. And to come out of this pose, we want to roll to one side. So roll over off the pillows or the bolster and then press up with your hands. And you want to move that bolster over to the side and press it back out of your way. And from here, we're going to come down onto the back. Lower yourself down onto the back. And we're going to do a supine figure 4. So bring the soles of the feet to your mat and just bend those knees toward the ceiling. And we're going to take one foot, doesn't matter which one, draw that foot up and put your ankle just above the kneecap. So you've got sort of a figure four with the legs here. And then we're going to take the hands and we're going to just slip them behind the thigh of the leg that has the foot on the floor. So that means you're going to draw the thigh up slightly and you're just going to wrap the hands around the back of the thigh. And go ahead and flex both of the feet here. That helps you get the maximum out of this stretch. And then you'll draw that thigh a little closer to the body, and you can use this elbow that's against the bent knee here and press the elbow into that knee. That can press the leg slightly away. And then you'll feel this probably in this outer hip, this thigh here, back of the hip. So you can continue to stay in this position and just relax into this, pressing the elbow as much or as little as you like. If you want to add a little more to this, you can tip toward the side of the body where the this foot that is closest to the wall in front of you. Okay, so that's this foot. If you look at the video that I'm moving around. So you can tip the legs and the torso, the upper body, all together toward that side. And you'll probably come to rest on your elbow on that side. And this just brings a little more intensity into the stretch on that outer hip. If it's too much, just come back to center. And if this feels like this is a good place for you to hang out for a minute, do that. Because it's a really good stretch on that outer hip. It can be kind of intense, so listen to your body and how it's responding. And hold here for 2 more breath cycles, 2 more. Just allow yourself to settle in. Let the breath come into any tense spaces, and the exhale draw the tension away and out of the body. And then let's press ourselves back over to center, and we'll bring both feet to the mat once again, knees towards ceiling, and we're just going to do this on the opposite side. So bring the opposite foot up above the kneecap. Wrap those hands around behind this thigh, so draw that thigh toward us. And then pulling the thigh a little closer to the body, using the elbow to press the opposite knee out a little bit. To press it slightly away from the body. And then again, if you want to add a little intensity, you can tilt the torso toward that side of the body where this foot that's closest to the wall in front of you. You're going to tip that direction, coming to rest on that elbow that's closest to the floor. And think of lengthening through the tailbone here, and you'll notice that can create a little more sensation. Again, flexing the feet helps to really get the maximum out of this stretch. And just holding here, relaxing into the stretch, letting the body feel the full benefit. If it gets too intense, come back to center. One more full breath cycle here. And then we'll come back to center. And let's come into our full Shavasana now. If you would like to, take that bolster or pillow and bring it so that it is beneath the knees. That can be a nice additional little feeling. Can give a little extra love to the low back. Let the arms open to the side, palms facing the ceiling. Feet are relaxed and flopped open. And we're going to just be here and breathe. I'll guide you through a short scan of the body to relax all the muscles, and then we'll take our silent shavasana. Let's start with the feet, starting with the big toes, relaxing all the toes. Working your way up across the top of the foot on both sides, the sole of the foot, the ankle, the heel, relaxing the feet completely. Let's draw attention into the ankles, the shins, the calves, up into the knee joint that carries us about through the day and does so much work to carry us to and fro. Up through the back of the thigh, the front of the thigh, the glutes and the hip socket. And just honoring and relaxing and releasing these legs, these feet that help move us about throughout the day. Relaxing and releasing the leg from toe to hip. Let's bring the attention now to the pelvic region, the low belly, the sacrum and low back, letting go of any tension there. Coming into the stomach, the mid-back, the ribs, the chest, the upper back and shoulders. The whole torso now, let everything release and let go there. Honoring all of the systems and organs within this midsection of our body. All the miraculous processes that they go through to keep us going every day. Let's bring attention to the thumbs and the fingertips. Notice the gentle curve of the fingers when the hands are fully relaxed. Bring attention to the palms, the back of the hand, the wrists, the forearms, the elbows, the upper arms and shoulders, and releasing all efforts and tension from fingertips all the way up to shoulders. Honoring all the tasks that our hands and arms help us to complete as we navigate our daily lives. And then let's bring attention to those shoulders, the traps, the neck, back of the neck, sides of the neck, front of the throat, releasing any tension there. Coming from the hairline behind the head, all the way across the scalp to the forehead, where the hairline is there. The temples, coming into the jaw, relaxing and opening the jaw slightly to release any efforts there. Letting go of all the little muscles around the ears, the cheekbones, the fleshy part of the cheeks, coming down to the chin, the lips, the nose, the eyes and eye sockets, all of the tiny muscles there that help us to see the world and move about safely, see the beauty. Let go of all those little tiny tenses in the muscles around the eyes. Bring attention again to the temples and across the forehead and right into that space between the eyebrows, letting go there. do one quick scan from toes up through legs, through torso, through arms, shoulders, neck, head, face. Relaxing it all, letting go. We can give you a couple minutes to just stay here in a full and silent shavasana to soak up the benefits of our practice today. I'll let you know when to come back to full awareness. Just be here and breathe, letting thoughts come and go without attachment or judgment. And we'll start now to bring ourselves back to full awareness by moving the fingertips, bringing some movement to the toes and the feet, the hands and the arms. Be lifting the arms up, lifting out from the shoulders, pressing out through the heels to do a full body stretch. And then from here, we'll roll over to one side, pillowing the head with the arm, keeping the eyes closed. One full breath cycle here on our side. And then we'll use the hands to press us back up to seated. Again, keeping the eyes closed here as long as you can. And bringing that little support for the tailbone with the towel or blanket if you have it and if you have that need. Coming into your comfortable seated position, spine erect, palms resting on the thighs or the knees. And taking notice now how it feels to sit in this position now versus when we first started our practice. Again, noticing those places in the body where we're grounded on the surface beneath us. Notice if holding an erect spine feels different now than it did when we began. Bringing the focus of our attention from our eyes to that space between the eyebrows. Is it relaxed still, or do we need to relax it some more? And notice the state of mind. Is it any different now than when we started our practice together? Let's take a full belly breath. Inhale, and on the exhale, we'll chant Om once together. Maybe even that chant feels different now than it did when we started our practice. Let's bring the hands together in prayer position at the heart space. May we have, excuse me, let's bring the thumbs up to the forehead. May we have peace in our thoughts. Bringing thumbs to the lips, may we have peace in our words. And the thumbs to the heart space, may we have peace in our hearts. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. And I bow as I say Namaste. Thank you so much for being here to practice with me today. I really hope that this practice brought some peace and tranquility into your life today, and that you can carry that with you out into the outer world as you go about your day. If you have any comments or questions, certainly let me know in the comment section. I'd love for you to subscribe to keep up with our practices as they are posted, and certainly feel free to follow on Instagram at Find Bliss Yoga, and keep in touch. Namaste. See you again here soon.